I have a question for you. What's the one thing that can take a good aquarium and make it a great aquarium? If I asked 50 different people, I'd get 50 different answers, which is part of what makes fish keeping such a great hobby. But deep down, we all know there's only one real answer. Red plants. I mean, look at them. The contrast with green, perfection. The vibrance, unmatched. It's just, mwah. So that got me thinking. What happens when you take that idea way too far? Is there a limit? Does adding more red make it even better? What if the best fish tank ever is one that's entirely red? Well, that's what we're here to find out. I'm talking red everything. Red substrate, red rocks, red plants, even red water. Will this be the most stunning aquarium ever? Or have I taken it too far? And to top it all off, I've got 4 types of red fish, including one that I bet you've never even heard of. But grouping fish based on color instead of temperament, well, it could get violent. So, are you ready? Then let's get started on Big Red Tetras, Big Red Tank. Now, for whatever reason, red plants tend to be a little more picky than green plants, so it's important that they have everything they need to grow big and strong, including a good light. I'll leave a link to this one below. It's my go-to for smaller tanks like this, and it won't break the bank to get awesome plant growth. And to make sure the plants have all the nutrients they need to grow as red as possible, I've got some organic potting soil. The only thing to do is sift out the bigger pieces that I don't want in the tank. You see that? It's a real sifter and not a colander from the kitchen like in my very first video. That's called character growth. With all the big chunks of bark and whatever else out, it's perfect for the aquarium plants. So let's add it to the tank. The next step is to add a little bit of water and stir it up to get all the air bubbles out. But that's not red, I hear you say. And that's why I got this red gravel to add on top of the dirt. I usually stay away from this kind of stuff because it looks unnatural, but we're here to find out if more red equals more better. So here goes nothing. Alright, I'll be honest, I kind of hate it. Let's get the rest of the red in and see if that helps. Next up, red rocks. Hopefully this will counteract the fake red of the gravel and we'll be back on track for making the greatest aquarium ever. And to help with that, I also got these chunks of driftwood. And while you could argue that brown is kind of red, this wood actually serves a different purpose. Wood naturally contains this stuff called tannins, which, well, it tans the water. So over time, this wood will tint the water in the tank to a reddish color and we'll have even more red. Oh, and also, one of the secret fish later on is a huge fan of having wood. Wait, that came out wrong. Let me try again. One of the secret fish later on likes wood. Nope. I don't know. You get it. Whatever. Let's just get this in the tank. I didn't trust this piece of wood to not float up, so I used a piece of tissue and some super glue to make sure it wouldn't ruin everything. Alright, there it is, the all-red hardscape. I don't think I'm convinced yet that this is the greatest aquarium ever, but it's a step in the right direction from the red gravel. Maybe the plants will fix it. Alright, time for the stars of the show, the red plants. I ordered just about every plant I could find that had red in the name, but some of these are looking a bit more green, or even pink, than red. Hopefully, when they get in the tank and start growing, some more of that red color will start to develop. And I'm super curious to see what this bulb-looking plant does. Anyways, let's get to planting and get this thing filled up with water. The problem with planting into gravel and dirt substrate, every time a plant went through, a little bit of that dirt escaped. Luckily, it all floated, so I was able to net it out. It just took absolutely forever to do. And with that, the tank was complete and murky. So I dropped a filter in the corner, and night fell upon the mysterious red tank. By morning, the tank was crystal clear, and there was already a curious little creature inside the tank and outside. Over the next few weeks, I did absolutely nothing and let the plants settle in. Some of them seemed to be taking well to the new tank and were showing signs of new growth. Others, well, not so much. They were having some serious melting issues, so I gave them a couple more weeks to see if they'd be able to bounce back. By this point, it was pretty clear which plants were going to make it and which weren't. It was time to introduce the first species to help clean up the ones that weren't. Pond snails. Okay, I get it. This is kind of a lame first red animal, but they are red, and they'll eat those dying plants. So really, it's a win-win. It can only get better from here, right? Oh, that bulb plant? I guess it's some kind of lily pad, and it's growing like crazy. I love it. Alright, let's move on to the next red animal. This one is a little bit better, I promise. We've got cherry shrimp. A whole bunch of them, to be exact. With how much dead plant material there is in this tank, these guys are going to be eaten good. So here's the thing. In a normal tank, cherry shrimp are usually a great addition for a pop of color. But in a completely red tank, these guys are impossible to see. They blend in with everything. So let's play a game of how many shrimp do you see? Comment below how many you see here, and if you get it right, you get to subscribe. If you get it wrong, well, who's to say I didn't get it wrong and actually you're right? So you get to subscribe too. To try and coax the shrimp out, I dropped them a tasty algae wafer. But it seems like it just didn't compete with the real stuff. Before we move on to the next animal, let me introduce you to the king of the lily pad, which is apparently just a giant shrimp hammock. Animal number 3 should be one that comes as no surprise. We have red tetras, specifically serpe tetras. So now, this is big red tetras, big red tank of big red tetras, or BRT, BRT, OBRT for short. Here's a good look at how the watercolor is changing from the wood. It makes these guys look a lot less red than they actually are. Wait a second, look at that fish. That's a huge lump. So I guess this is actually big red tetras, big red tank of big red lumpy tetras, or BRT, BRT, OBRLT. Hopefully it's just a harmless growth. He seems to be swimming fine, but just in case, I'm putting him in a hospital bowl. A salt bath and some antifungal medicine should help if it's some sort of infection. Plus, if it's contagious, I don't want it spreading to the other tetras. Let me know in the comments below if you want an update video on Lumpy the Tetra. Fingers crossed he gets to be reunited with his friends soon. Now, let's get the rest of the non-lumpy tetras in the tank. They wasted no time exploring their new home, but made sure to stay in a tight little group and never wandered too far off from the rest. One did take the time to investigate a shrimp, but didn't seem too interested in continuing the harassment. I will say, the redfish look a lot closer to pink in this small sea of red. It's time for the fourth and final red fish. This one genuinely makes me nervous, so I'm not going to do an intro or anything, I'm just going to get him in the tank. Yeah. Alright, introducing the sea dragon. Nah, I'm just kidding. I saw him at the pet store and said red, like a seagull from Finding Nemo. The tetras didn't seem to like the dragon too much, and I can't really blame them. Okay, let's add the real fourth red fish, and this is one that I don't think very many of you will know. This is a juvenile red lizard whiptail catfish. Now obviously, he's a little pale right now, but shipping is stressful. Once he gets settled in the tank and starts to mature, he'll become a vibrant red color. Hey, let go of the cup, little dude. Alright, He's in the tank, and he seems to have claimed this rock as his. Between the long tail and the super tall fin, I gotta say, this might be one of my favorite fish right now. So there's the red tank. We've got the catfish, the shrimp, the tetras, the snails, this lily pad that will not stop growing, and of course the sea dragon. But like I said at the beginning, grouping fish by colors instead of temperament, well, it could lead to some violence. But I bet you can't guess which fish turned out to be the problem. Holy, did you see that? And after that vicious attack, it was time for a nap in the shade of the lily. Nah, I'm just kidding. Luckily, everyone gets along really well. But I do have one last red thing to add before we can call this done. It's time to feed them red. So I got these bloodworms, and to be honest, I don't know if any of these species actually eat bloodworms, so let's find out. Whoa, wait, those tetras actually love it. All right, let's give them a little bit more. Well, I guess we'll never know if shrimp or catfish eat bloodworms, because the tetras aren't letting anything get by them. Survival of the hungriest, I guess. So there we go, the big red tank. What do you think? Greatest aquarium ever, or too much red? Let me know in the comments below, and subscribe so you don't miss the next challenge tank, the all black aquarium. Wait, this might be a mistake.